Hi there. Had a few minutes, so I wanted to do a quick video on some of the RC projects that I've done recently and am currently working on. This was kind of a fun one. It was a static model, aluminum diecast, 1940 Ford pickup. And I looked at it and I thought, holy cow, that would be fun to do some RC stuff to. So anyway, did the WPL thing with the military truck C channels and that gearbox that's so familiar. I put two motors in it. I don't know if you can see one down here below the box and above the rear axle, and then there's one under the hood as well. I wanted to give it some power, adequate power, because it weighs about almost 5 pounds. But it was fun. I made this camper on it to hide all the electronic stuff. This was my very first crawler type project, so I didn't really know what I was doing, but just kind of played it by ear, I guess. Made a smoker. All my switches are back here. Made a smoker. Put lights on it and that kind of thing. So the idea is to put that back on there and put the chimney on, and then the smoke should come out of the chimney. So yeah, just a fun little project. I made the smoker out of an old coffee maker electric element, the heating element. It has also it's got some lights on it, which are not controlled by the radio, but they're just switches. But again, it was my first project. So I got the headlights there. The front bumper is made of oak. And it's got the tail light. I want to get a 1940 Michigan license plate for there. That'd be kind of fun. And that's porch light. Got to have a porch light. This was a fun project, but man, it took a long time. I started it last April and worked a good 4 months on it. I mean, when you're working, you only have so much time. Door opens. These shingles were handmade, and they're made of white ash. I'm fortunate enough to have access to the scraps and slabs from a local sawmill, so it's kind of cool. This the roof was also made of white ash. When this scrap came off of the mill, it was probably about 1/16 of an inch thick, and after hours of sanding, I got it thin enough that you can actually see light through it if you put a light behind it. So a lot of time, as you know, a lot of time involved in this stuff, but fun stuff. Well, this was the very first one that I did, and I was kind of happy with the way it turned out. But as things went along, just kind of building on that experience, found a new bright Jeep body. It was kind of fun, and I thought, well, instead of being dependent on that WPL frame, maybe I'll make my own frame. And so I started making these frame blanks out of aluminum. And this is the frame blank for this Jeep. And actually, I think it's backwards. So this is of course these tabs are for the control arms, or the links, and then the shock towers. This is for the rear. And you can kind of see how that lines up with the shocks and with the axles. So it's kind of fun. It was just a fun thing. The shocks are cheap plastic, not oil filled, but it got pretty good articulation. There's still 4 feet of snow on the ground here, and I'm just itching to get this and others out in the woods and play with them a little bit. It has folding mirrors so they don't break off the first time I crash it. And it was just kind of a fun project. Up here, wood is one of our most plentiful resources, so I thought, well, kind of go with that. The top of this thing is made of bird's eye maple. It's hard to pick up on the camera, but in person, if you look at those dots, those eyes in there, they have a 3D effect. So they're really pretty. So like I say, it'll be fun to see how it actually goes outdoors. I haven't used it outside yet. In the back, the electronics are in the back, and it was just kind of, the idea came from, you know, around here it wouldn't be uncommon to see something like this parked in someone's backyard. You know, somebody had an old Jeep, they needed something to hunt with, something to get their firewood with, and so just thought that was kind of fun. The current project I have is this little guy. It's also New Bright body, but I thought while these New Bright bodies were still fairly inexpensive on eBay, I figured I would pick up a few of them. You know, these, when I was buying these, they were still like in the $5 to $8 range or so, and I like them because they're fairly detailed. But this was an attempt to get a little more scale look. So I've got a little bit lower ride there. You can see the distance between the tires and the fenders aren't quite so dramatic. And these are oil shocks here. They're just cheap ones off of eBay. But this, instead of using this rail with these tabs that stick down, I wanted to make a little cleaner undercarriage on this one. So if you can see, this is a little bit flatter across there. Doesn't have the gearbox sticking down, doesn't have those tabs sticking down, and as a result I was able to hopefully get a little more scale look. Like I say, where, you know, like you'd see a more typical vehicle. It doesn't have quite the articulation. In fact, this wheel really comes up, but I'm still playing with different springs and things like that. By the time I get all the weight on it from the electronics and stuff, it'll be better. I'm going to weight the wheels. I have lead that I can put around the inside the wheels and that kind of thing. And I mounted the motor up underneath the hood to get that to, well, first of all, to be able to have a cleaner look underneath and not have so much hanging down. And it also automatically puts more weight over the front axle. So hopefully that'll be advantageous. And these the links I just made with threaded rod, 3mm threaded rod, and then put aluminum tubing over them. So it's fun. These tires are Rock Crusher, I think they're called. They're 1.2 inch wheel diameter, and they came from RC 4-wheel drive. They look like they'd be a pretty good tire, and I like them better than the original WPL tires that come on all their stuff. They're a little bit narrower, and again, going for a little more of that scale look. And I have some aluminum wheels coming, and I'll put wheel weights on those too. This actually has 1 3/4 inches of clearance from the bottom of the transfer case to the ground, which is every bit as good or better than the red Jeep you just saw. Even though that thing has, I mean, you can see the difference in the height, in the ride height, but I don't think that has. I think that this has just as much clearance as this one, so it'll be fun. Alright, well, thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more videos. I'm going to try to get some more out. This one's going to be unedited because I haven't figured out my editing program yet, but hopefully it'll be YouTube acceptable. Alright, take care. Talk to you later.